Yo, what's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you on a Monday following Super Bowl 51. And what is, I still can't believe what we all witnessed yesterday. It was historic. It was epic in so many different ways. Unfortunately, for the team I was pulling for, the Atlanta Falcons, it did not go their way. And speaking to me today now is, you've heard from him before in our many conversations prior to this game, David, also known as SportsLiveInTheATL, to hear what it feels like to be at the day after the Super Bowl, what it feels like to be on the losing end. I know what it feels like, but I want to hear straight from the horse's mouth. David, it's Monday morning. I know it's been a long night for you. Talk to me. What does this loss feel like to you? Tell me, you want to vent it out, because I cannot imagine what it must be like to be an Atlanta Falcons fan today.
Well, I mean, what's in order first is, congrats to New England, obviously. Like we talked about, Norm, man, my emotions are so scrambled to have, a 28-3 lead. Thinking that, you're going to finally have that championship for your city. Because, I think 99% of the world at that time, even the Patriots, probably believe that, because you can't tell me that the Patriots, even in victory now, can come on and say that they knew they were going to come back. They didn't. Tom Brady didn't know it. Patriots players did not know it. What opened the door for them was us letting them back in and then seizing it. I will say this, because I remember I did talk to you, and I'm real, guys. I'm going to let you know what we talked about. I said, don't ask me any questions regarding coulda, shoulda, wouldas. Did I not? Mm-hmm. But if we were, after that Julio Jones catch, if we would have just ran the ball up the middle, even if it was negative yards or whatever, you're going to go for a 30, 40 yard field goal, 31-20 with like 2-something to go. I'll be damned, but it's Atlanta sports, Norb. I'm in shock. It's like, if you can't protect a 28-3 lead, what lead is safe? Our second Super Bowl appearance. Obviously, we lost both. I didn't think it could get worse in 2012 championship game, but it did. I'm dumbfounded, man, to have it ripped out of your chest. I was already. I hope you don't mind me talking.
No, keep going, man. This is sort of your time to get it out there.
Yeah. I was actually at 28-3. I was in a surreal mode. I know you and I talked, but I was in a surreal mode. I was, had a couple of drinks.
And we had a conversation at halftime. David gave me a call, and we talked just to kind of check in how things were feeling. Yeah. And rightfully so, you were confident about how you were doing, but you weren't thinking we've won this game yet, right? Am I right at that point?
Yeah, because I even told you that on the stream. I even told you it's not over until it hits 0. I may have mumbled it out. I don't know what I said, but I'm pretty sure I said something like that. I never conceded victory at all. And that moment I was in with the Alford interception, it was like, man, we are actually going to do this. But let me just calm down and understand that there's still time left on the clock. But even the greatest teams in the world, you wouldn't think would come back from a 28-3 deficit in the third quarter. It's mind-boggling to me. It's almost like we're cursed. We're not, the loyal fans of Atlanta, myself, my brother, a couple other people that I know, and I know there's tons around the state of Georgia who are loyal. I heard for them. I heard for the players. I heard for the former players who came out. I heard for the team in the 60s, the 70s, 80s, because we had to go through a lot of insults our whole career, the Falcons' whole existence. And with the first loss in Super Bowl and a couple playoff losses and NFC Championship losses, and, this really felt like the time. Everything aligned itself. It's almost like, I think to myself, Norm, why did it even happen? Why did we even steal the number 2 seed? Why did we even beat your team in the playoffs? Why did we even beat the Packers if we're going to get to this point? Why do we build a 28-3 lead and build hope if we're just going to blow it? I can't think of it. It's like, I know you suffered a tough Super Bowl loss, but even you can't 100% understand the feeling that I'm feeling, because y'all didn't blow a monumental lead of monumental proportions in the way we did. And I wonder how my team's going to respond. I wonder how we're going to respond from it.
Well, we talked a little bit last night after the game, and I talked to you about how I saw the parallels between our Super Bowl 48 and this game you played yesterday. And it was very similar in the way that it started, the way it went to half. And I told you on our phone conversation, I said, this is a lot like Super Bowl 48. Because in Super Bowl 48, we had a 22-0 lead at the half. And I was still nervous because we were still facing Peyton Manning and the number one offense. I'm thinking, man, one score, and all of a sudden they're back in the game because they were down 3 scores. And in your case, they were down 3 scores. You guys had a 20 – at that time it was 21-3?
Yeah, hold on a second. When you said that, it just triggered. Oh, I got to Okay, go ahead.
Okay, all right. Anyway,
28-3.
It was 21-3 at that time, and I remember, and I told you, I said, when I felt better in Super Bowl 48 is when we took the first half kickoff, second half kickoff, and for Percy Harvin for a touchdown. At that point, I go, we're going to win this game. And I thought to myself, if the Falcons can score one more touchdown, that will be like the Percy Harvin kickoff to basically solidify their chances of winning. And what did you guys do? You guys went and scored another touchdown to make it 28-3. And I'm thinking, this is insurmountable. This is not a 3-score lead. It's 4 scores because even if they got 3-point conversions, they would still be short by 1. I'm going, there's no way they're gonna. And the way you guys were playing, they couldn't stop you. You had pressure. You were rattling Brady. And anyway, I thought at that point in the third quarter, you guys were going to win it. I was already thinking,
funny you mentioned that.
Atlanta's going to be the juggernaut. But anyway,
yeah.
Sorry, we're going down.
It's funny you mentioned that. Though. Yeah. Funny you mentioned and I apologize for interrupting. It's funny you mentioned the 2-point conversions because I was telling some friends of mine, I kid you not. I was like, I'm feeling pretty good. It hasn't hit 0 yet, but some of my friends were like, well, they could come back. I'm like, well, yeah, they could, but I was calculating. They would have to score a couple 2-point conversions in a row just to tie us. I'll be damned. It happened. And when the Patriots were driving down, there was a couple opportunities that we had to end it. That tying series. 3 times on third down, we let them off the hook after we stopped them with penalties. Whether they were penalties or not, I'm not getting into all that. A lot of people are saying this and that. I don't care because it should have never been in that situation. And then when White scored before he scored the tying touchdown, I think we had a chance to intercept it, or maybe that was the overtime one. I'm not sure because I was all over the place. But I know that on the tying touchdown or something, or the overtime touchdown, his knee was down or whatever, somebody was bringing it to my attention. So what? Let's be real. The way it was going, they were going to score. They weren't going to be denied. It was like a slow death. And like I said, I'm in shock. Again, I don't know people. I mean, it's a year older now. It's a year out of my life now that I'm not going to get back. I told you I want to celebrate one while I'm still young and able to do things. And it's a year I'm not going to get back. And it's like, how is the team going to respond? What if the team, because I don't know what's going to happen because this is something that can deflate the team moving forward. Do I believe we're going to be a playoff team next year? Yes. But we're in the back of my mind, and I'm going to be like, okay, we're in the playoffs, but can we win the Super Bowl? There's no form of confidence that I could say here on out, getting into the playoffs down the road, that we're going to win. People are like, how come you're not 100% confident? Things like this. And how could I would probably be a hypocrite. Hypothetically, we do win the Super Bowl or go to the Super Bowl next year or the year after, one of the whatever. Can you blame me for not saying I'm 100% confident? Because you had a 28-3 lead. What is confidence? What is confidence? I mean, because no team really knows what they're going to do. You just hope. But if you can't protect something like this, only confidence I have is the confidence I'm going to love my team until the day I meet my maker. But this, going forward, we're always going to hear it. And until we do it, Atlanta's going to still be labeled the choke city. I mean, we deserved the label we got. And Devontae Freeman said something in one of the pressers. You can see how heartbroken he was. He said he feels the team let the city of Atlanta down. Some may disagree with what I'm going to say, but he did. The team did, not individually, because they balled, but as a whole, building up that lead. 51 years of existence, loyal fans who have root for this team for a long time, not the bandwagon fans. But the Falcons did let loyal Atlanta fans down. I mean, there's no other way around it. It doesn't mean I dislike the team any less. But you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. No, I completely understand. I can say completely, but as a Seahawks fan who had to endure Super Bowl 49 and the aftermath since, I'm about as close to somebody who can understand what it feels like to lose the biggest game, to feel like you had it in your hands. In our case, we were down, but we were at the 1 yard line with a chance to get that game, and you knew victory. You could smell it. And in your case, you had it too. All you had to do was ride it out and not make the mistakes. Unfortunately, that's what happened. And I guess my concern for you guys, looking at it, obviously, like I said in my broadcast yesterday, I said, once this game's over, I'm no longer rooting for Atlanta because you guys are now the enemy again as we reset the whole season. But as a football fan, thinking about you guys moving ahead, I know what the psychological aftermath was with Super Bowl 49, and you saw it play out in this season with Richard Sherman blowing up in the face of the offensive coordinator saying, we don't want you passing at the 1 yard line, and causing all the sideline. That's 2 years. That's 2 seasons later. We're still dealing with this psychological trauma that's still sort of, we as fans can have it, but when you see that the players are actually doing it, you realize this affects them too. They don't just turn the page and move forward. It's still hanging out in their minds. Now, my concern for if I were a Falcons fan, my concern for your team would be, what does this do psychologically to the team? The fans will be hurt, and you guys are going to have to suffer for it no matter what. You will not be able to live this one down. Trust me. Yeah. It's going to be, like I said, a scar that you will have to carry with you for the rest of your football lives because it doesn't go away. You will always have that in history. Even if you win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you will have that one we had that one too. But my concern now is the Super Bowl hangover. We've seen what happens to teams that lose in the Super Bowl. We didn't make it the next year. We were in the playoffs, but we didn't make it next year. Look what happened to Carolina last year. Look what happened to the Broncos. Broncos won. They still had a not good season. But it's historically seen that teams that don't win the Super Bowl don't do so well the following season. And now while you guys still have all the pieces, the question now is, like you said, psychologically, what does this mean for the team, the head coach? Will they be thinking in their minds, yeah, okay, we're in the playoffs. Yeah, okay, we won the division. Yeah, we won the championship. Yeah, we're in the Super Bowl. Even if you guys go up by 2-3 touchdowns, in their minds they're going to be thinking, we might still blow this. And who knows how that might affect their play throughout the season next year moving forward. Because it's hard to get that close and to have it in your hand and taken away and not have at least some kind of psychological scar that affects the way you play the next season. So will be interesting to see how the Falcons respond next year. But they definitely have a lot to cover.
The way I see it is, from a player's perspective, you're a competitor. Now, that part I can understand. Like, some Falcons are playing during the season. They're trying to win some games. They're getting excited. But, any games they win, deep down they're going to be thinking, is it worth it? I mean, should I put this forth this much effort and then go to the playoffs or Super Bowl and lose? You see what I'm saying? That's the drawback. I just like your Seahawks, even after at least y'all won a Super Bowl. I mean, I don't even have that feeling. I had it ripped from me. But since y'all lost the Super Bowl, y'all still have been to the playoffs every year after that. So that's why I say anytime you can get to the playoff, you give yourself a chance.
Right.
So that's why I said we're built to succeed. We're Seattle in the NFC South. But I mean, obviously it's going to be a huge psychological thing. We're going to lose Kyle Shanahan to the Niners. I don't want to bring in Chip Kelly. I don't even really want to talk about all that now, but we're going to pick up some players and stuff, but you got to figure yourself it's not like the Super Bowl was close and you just lost it barely or something like that. You had a huge lead. No team in NFL history has ever blown a lead that big in the Super Bowl. No team has ever had a lead in the playoff history, 94-0, and that one loss happened to be us, only in Atlanta. So it's like, how are you going to act? I mean, how are you going to feel going through the season, making the playoffs, but you're going to have that thing in your head? So it's like, I just hope that, I hope Atlanta, first of all, gets rid of that stupid Rise Up moniker. I think it's so stupid. But I hope that they get it together and don't fall apart, because they got a lot of good pieces. I mean, to me, it was a lost season. There's no solace in what I went through. As far as I'm concerned, my season was just like Jacksonville's. Okay? Because we did not win the Super Bowl. I just hope that they can get the pieces together and finally get some championship players. You know, I feel bad for Freeney. I feel bad for Matt Ryan. I feel bad for Grady Jarrett. Oh, man. 3 sacks. He just, you know,
Coach Quinn, Dan Quinn, who was one of the reasons why I didn't mind rooting for Atlanta, being that Dan Quinn, you know, was with us when we won a Super Bowl, went through the Super Bowl heartbreak, and yet in his head he got to be thinking, man, I lost to these same guys in a heartbreaking fashion 2 seasons ago, and I went through the same thing all over again this season with the Falcons.
See, I have to ask you this. I got to ask you this. I said I wasn't going to talk about. And I'm not going to talk about ifs, ands, or coulda, shouldas, but I got to say that they're just kind of just flowing with it. He made a bad call, or whatever the offensive coordinator call was when y'all lost the Super Bowl on the 1 yard line. Okay, apparently here, the same kind of scenario happened, right? The same kind of scenario happened. Play call. When you're at the 22 yard line, why do you not just run the ball a couple yards?
Yeah.
And get a field goal. I mean, what was the point of trying to throw the ball, put yourself, you know, you throw the ball and you're dropping back, you're putting yourself in sack situations. I mean, it would have been like a 35-yarder, 31-20. So from a Seattle Seahawks perspective, since you had Dan Quinn on your team, I can't say that was so much his call, but, you know, it's Shanahan's, but he has control. Why do you think he didn't overturn those calls? Because we just fell apart with holding and sacks. Because Atlanta's a running team like Seattle was with Marshawn Lynch. And it's kind of eerie, the connection there. Quinn, defense, offensive, play calls, running back, huge moment, didn't do it, chose to pass, blew it.
Well, I wouldn't be able to tie the offensive play call in our Super Bowl to Dan Quinn, because he's obviously the defensive coordinator. However, you could have
overturned it. He could have overturned it. He could have said, no, I don't want that play.
But where you have the parallel is Dan Quinn. Now, remember this. We were up 24-14 over the Patriots in Super Bowl 49. And I think they got their stats wrong. They're saying no team has ever blew a 10-point or more lead. That's actually incorrect, because we blew a 10-point lead. So it really has to be an 11 or more point lead, by the way. That's just for the record. So we had a 24-14 lead in the fourth quarter.
You made me feel so much better.
That's what I'm here for, man. Giving you little crumbs of hope and solace. Anyway, so we were ahead 10 points, and then we blew 2 touchdowns and then the Patriots went up by 4. That was at the hands of Dan Quinn, our defensive coordinator. And he also, under his watch with you guys, gave up to 2 touchdowns and 2-point conversions that allowed the Patriots to tie the game. Now, that's a whole X's and O's thing. I don't know what happened, because you guys were shutting down Brady. You were getting pressure. I mean, you guys looked like a totally different team from the first 3 quarters, really the first half, and part of the third quarter. And the fourth quarter, it's like suddenly you guys couldn't touch him. Brady was standing, had no pressure, and you guys couldn't stop a thing they did. I have no idea what happened there, but that's what I see more on the Dan Quinn side, because he's the defensive guy. But going back to that play you brought up, I was saying at the time, you know, after Julio makes that amazing catch, toe tap at the 22-yard line, that's it. That's the Tyree catch. That's the dagger. All they got to do now is kick the field goal. They go up by 2 scores with only, 2 minutes or whatever? Not enough time. Even if he goes down to score, they run out of time. Atlanta just run the clock out, and the game's over. All they got to do is kick the freaking field goal. And so that whole thing was frustrating to watch as a football fan, to watch them blow that to basically take themselves out from they were at the 22-yard line, and then they end up punting at midfield. That's how much yardage they lost. I mean, it's hard to do that on purpose, but they did it. But what I was going to say, though, is listening to Dan Quinn. I know you've been avoiding all the media about this, but I did listen to some interviews with Dan Quinn afterwards, And his rationale for what happened there was, they got first down. They tried to run the ball. I think it was a pitch to the left. He got stuffed and lost a yard, and they decided
1 yard.
I know. I'm not rationalizing, but he did and said, well, we want to stay aggressive. We've been aggressive all season. Let's stay aggressive. And then that's what, led to the next series of plays.
Okay, now.
That's his rationale. We want to do what we've done all season to stay aggressive. I don't buy it, but that was the defense of it.
But that right there, that's not a good, his rationale. That's a cop-out because I like Dan Quinn. You want to stay aggressive. You want to stay aggressive in the regular season. You want to stay aggressive in the first half maybe. But what it seemed like to me, he wanted, just going on thing, he wanted to be aggressive to try to put the ball down by the goal line, maybe get a touchdown. That's what I'm thinking. If you at this stage, when you've got a couple minutes left, and your team is so close to winning the Super Bowl, and you're in definite field goal range, whether you lost a yard, big deal. Using 1 yard or even maybe 2-3 more yards is better than losing 35 or whatever the hell it was. Okay? You go for the field goal. It's not about style at that moment. You already did your style productivity to get to that point. It's about just finishing it off. And if it means with a couple minutes to go, you run the ball, take 5-6 yards total loss, kick a 45-yard field goal, you're up 11 points with 2+ minutes to go. They're going to take time off the clock. Obviously, going down the field, the chances are really slim that you're going to lose it. So his analogy of it is just crazy. No, I don't buy none of that.
This is what I think, and I asked you about this. I asked you about this in one of our conversations. I said, do you think the experience factor will play into this? And to me, what I saw there is they tried to run the ball and they got stuffed. And I think there was a little bit of panic, a little bit of doubt. Because if they just played smart, then what they should have just done was continue to run the ball. Because I don't think they would have been stuffed every single time. I think they probably would have gotten some positive yardage back. Or at least if you're going to run a pass play, you got to do something that's a little more safe, a little more, not a drop back where you can get sacked.
Just keep running the ball. Matt Bryant's got a huge leg. It's not like he could miss it, no doubt, but you at least give yourself an opportunity. It was totally screwed up the whole way. You need to be conservative. You don't need to be aggressive when it comes down to that. Like I said, you were aggressive the whole game to get you to that point. Just play it safe and win the damn game.
Well, playing it smart. There's one thing about being aggressive, and then it's being smart. It's being, game situational awareness, knowing what's going on at the time because of the clock and field position, down and distance. You got all that stuff. Because if you kind of go cowboy and just go for it on things, you could do exactly what happened and have things backfire. And it happened twice. If you back up earlier to the play where it was 3rd and 1 and they threw that deep pass that he got sacked on and turned into a turnover. If you don't get that turnover, I think it changes it. Because even if you guys have to punt, at least you make New England work the distance of the field, not give them a short field close to the red zone, which allows them to score in like a short amount of time. Anyway, we're going back to the whole.
What is so weird about this, man, is that we should not. I don't know if we should not even be talking about possessions and Brady doing this because we had it. Right. We should be on here saying how dominant Atlanta was, winning their first Super Bowl and burying Brady in the dirt and doing everything we had come out, man. I love your show. I love doing these things with you, but it just amazes me that I'm sitting here talking about us blowing it when there was no indication that it was going to happen that way. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, I believe me. I thought, like I said, at the top of the 3rd quarter when you guys scored that opening touchdown, I thought that's it. There's no way they can lose this game. In my mind, I thought that was the case. But I got to say this though, despite all the mistakes that Atlanta did, you opened the door for them. But the Patriots still had to walk through the door. And after that play where they blew the field, they took themselves out of field goal range and they punted. And I think Brady had to go like 90 yards to get a tie game. When you think about that series, and there was the Edelman miracle catch, which I don't think you've even seen. If I'm going to get into that in a second.
I'm not going to watch it now because I had it on and I was just going back and forth radio on. But there was also three 3rd down holding calls after we had stopped them on 3rd down.
Right.
It just wasn't meant to be. No, it was not meant for Atlanta to finally win a championship. It wasn't meant to be for myself to represent my team winning the Super Bowl. It was meant for Tom Brady to get his 5th ring. It was meant for the city of Atlanta to be called chokers again. It was meant to be the Falcons to be laughed at and wonder what could have happened again and what if. It's just a disgusting feeling. It's disgusting.
Well, I know, man, and I've been in that place that you're at, and but you still got to give credit to the Patriots, because even though the door was held open was for them, they had to make. They had no room for error, because this was their one chance. They had to get a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. If any one of those things fails, to not get the touchdown, to not get the 2-point, you guys will still win. So the defense had a chance to make a stop twice. To get
the defense got tired,
and then in overtime, and then you guys lost the coin toss and never got to touch the ball. But again, it was like once they tied the game, in my mind, I'm going, they got this. There's no way they're going to be stopped. That's what I was thinking.
Let me ask you this. Do you agree with the overtime rules? I mean, I think in the Super Bowl, I know if you score a touchdown first, you win. I think in a Super Bowl, like I said, I'm not trying to make an excuse, because it never should have been there. But to not get a chance at all is what hurts the most. I figure, at least in the Super Bowl, even if the first team scores a touchdown, you give the other team an opportunity. And if they score a touchdown, then the next series, the first score wins. I mean, I think they got to change that. I cannot fathom the fact. I mean, if the Falcons would have won it and went down, sure, I would have been happy. But I could understand Patriot fans would be upset by not getting an opportunity. I mean, if you get a field goal on the drive, then they get an opportunity. But if you get a touchdown first, it's over. I don't agree with that. But it never should have come to that to begin with. Right. But what are your thoughts?
Well, the way I've always been, and I've talked about this whenever they make drastic game rule changes. I don't like the changes in general. I'm a guy who I like to stay with the tradition. I didn't like when they moved the extra points back. I don't like when they moved the kickoffs back. I didn't like when they changed the sudden death rules to begin with. I actually kind of like it now, because now that I see it, I like the fact that a team doesn't have to just go like 30, 40 yards and then win it with a field goal. At least it makes the other team have to get a touchdown first. Yeah. And that means that the defense has to show up and keep them out of the end zone. It's hard to keep a team from kicking a field goal from the 40-yard line, but it's a lot more realistic for the defense to stop them from scoring a touchdown. So I don't know if I can't take your side on this at the moment. Obviously, you're feeling that way because you were on the short end of it. Like you said, if Atlanta went down and scored on the first thing, and you heard the Patriots fan going, "Oh, the overtime rule sucks," you'd probably be going, "Screw you guys, we won that game." So I know where you're coming from, and I think it all depends on where you are during a particular situation. Once it happens to you, you hate the rule. If you win with the rule, you're not going to complain about it. That's pretty much how it's going to go. But that debate will happen forever. The college overtime rule is pretty cool in the fact that no matter what, every team gets at least one crack at it, and that's a pretty good system. It would take a major revolutionary change to have the NFL rule change their system. Plus, I think if they're going to go on player safety, the problem with the whole college system is you can keep going back and forth and keep scoring, and it could keep extending the game theoretically. And from the player standpoint and the game length standpoint, that doesn't necessarily shorten the game. It extends things potentially. But again, this is a different debate for another time. But I'm sorry, man. I know this is going to be a tough one. Like I said, I don't think you ever get over it. People told me the same thing. "Oh, there's always next year. Oh, you guys will win another one. You'll be back." But it doesn't take away the fact that you lost the one you should have had. And even if you win several more, there's always that one more that you look back on and think, we should have had that one. And it's like you and I talked yesterday, there is no way to feel good about losing the Super Bowl, because you look at everything, like you said, it'll feel like a lost season. You look at that NFC Championship banner of 2016, and what are you going to think when you look at it? You're going to be reminded of the Super Bowl you should have won. When Matt Ryan thinks about the MVP he won, yeah, it's great to he can call himself an MVP quarterback for 2016, but it'll be a reminder of the season that, yeah, I was MVP and we blew a 25-point lead. So I know I'm adding salt to the wound. I'm sorry, but this is the reality, because I've been there and I'm still there. I still have not gotten over Super Bowl 49. That's the harsh reality of it, because I will sit there and I'll be washing the dishes, working on something, not even in the middle of football season, and that play will pop up in my head, and I will just be like shaking my head going, why didn't we give the ball to Marshawn Lynch? And my brain will run off and think of all the scenarios that could have been. And it's going to be the same.
Well, let me ask you this. It is for me. I mean, but I still want to win my first championship, and I believe we're going to do it at some point. I just hope it's before I'm using a walker. Because, I mean, what could I do if I'm using a walker? But hey, the Falcons are playing the Seahawks next year. Is it in Seattle?
Yep.
Okay. We're going to communicate, man. I'm going to try to make it up there for that. I'm going to try to work my butt off and do everything I can to make it up. That would be sweet.
That would be fun.
Yeah, but right now, man, it's just a bum feeling. I mean, you can't really tell. Let me see if you can. It's the outside, but it's just such a downer. It feels like the zombie apocalypse out here. It's cold, but it feels good. But damn, Norb, so close, man, my friend, so close to this championship. But I'm going to stay supporting for the team. I got a lot of things I got to accomplish, within my personal life and my job and everything, and grow. But I'm always going to rep. So if people who are watching this, who follow my SportsLiveInTheATL YouTube channel, just understand it's no longer going to be what it was.
You're getting out of the trash talking circle, basically, right? That's retiring from that side of things.
I'm done. I'm done completely from it. I'm isolating myself away from the people there. There are a few I'm still contacting with, but those are ones who don't take it the route that it goes, who are like me and you, kind of slow. Can trash, but are kind of level-headed. Because I got more important things I got to worry about. My channel is going to be a lot of my things that I enjoy doing. It's going to be about my activities that I do, just random stuff, and still sports, but it's going to be in a totally different scenario because I'll be quite honest, off of YouTube is more important for what I got to accomplish the rest of my life. It was a fun part of it that's going to end, but I won't be totally gone. But it's bad, man. It's a bad feeling to lose the way we did and hear people laugh at my team and to not be able to pop on and listen to the stuff and watch it and when I expected it. It's brutal. It's brutal when you can't take them. I'll be honest, I can't take the medicine and watch the videos. It's just that frustrating.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. New England Patriots deserve it. So, yeah.
I got to ask you, I hate to take you down this memory lane a little bit, but I know I was thinking about you during this game, and when the Patriots started coming back, I kept thinking, man, I can only imagine what David must be doing right now. Share with us a little bit, at what point, what were you doing? Because I know you turned off your TV. You told me you turned off your TV and you listened to the radio. What happened? It had to have been either when a game got down to 2 scores or when the Patriots were down by 8 points. When did the TV get turned off, and what was going through your mind? Where was the turning point for you where you felt like you couldn't watch anymore?
Well, before I answer that, I'm pretty sure we've all felt that way. Kind of like a jinx thing, like maybe if you don't watch it, good things happen. I actually left the TV on, Norb. I had the TV on, the radio on, and I came outside. But I would say when we screwed that opportunity up, when it was 28-20 after the Julio catch and went backwards and punted the ball with 2 minutes, I couldn't stomach watching. As soon as Brady made that first positive play, I just took my cell phone and kept on my Twitter. And I came outside here, put it down, just started to walk and kept popping on the Twitter, praying to God I would see something like, great stop. But all I kept seeing in the Twitter feed was, oh my God, we're not going to collapse this. Oh my God, this is nauseating. Oh my God, they're going to wind up scoring this and winning this. Oh my God, this is epic collapse. Falcons, please don't do this. It was just so many things, but I would say when it was 28-20 and we blew the opportunity for the field goal, it was just anticlimactic. And I'll be honest, when they scored the tying touchdown, I was like, okay, let's take away this 2-point conversion. I didn't watch it. And then when the first thing I saw on Twitter was they got the 2 points, too easy. And then I kind of peeked up at the TV and saw it, and I just wanted to throw everything across the room. And then in the overtime, it was a slow death, man. It was just, again, I didn't watch the overtime. I had it all on, but I was following it on the phone, the Twitter, and just kept getting more negative and negative and negative and negative and negative. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, Lord. And then I finally, when they had the ball, I think 10 or something like that, I finally went back in there, had the TV on, had the radio on, looked at it, and the pain of the inevitable. I knew that was coming. To hear the Falcon announcers on radio call that James White touchdown, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, they're going to say the Patriots are going to take it, but the Falcons are going to get another opportunity. No, I heard, oh, James White scores. Tom Brady gets his 5th Super Bowl. And I had trouble comprehending that because I expected it to be a different scenario, but it wasn't. So it was anticlimactic late on that time touchdown. It was, you could see it was over. And I felt really bad. I felt really bad for the players who busted their butts. I felt bad for the coaches. I felt bad for the loyal fans. I felt bad for myself, my brother, supporting this team. But I want to tell you one thing. There's one thing I don't regret. You can't see in my car, but I still got my NFC Championship shirt in it, a Falcon tag, and that will ride with me. I may not have paraphernalia on right now, but I love my team. And every time I look at my team's colors and put on my colors, I do it with pride and happiness. I'm crushed, but it is my team. The Falcons are my team, and it's a crushing situation to be in, but I'll be all right, and hopefully the team will be all right.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to throw cliches at you like, well, there's always next year. You guys are good. You'll be back. Because we've heard the same thing, and there's no guarantee of any of that stuff.
No, there's not.
But I will say this much. Dan Quinn is a good coach. You guys have the pieces. You know, your offense isn't going anywhere. Your offense coordinator is, so I don't know how that's going to affect you guys. I'm curious about that. Again, another conversation with as the season goes forward. But you guys have pieces. Your window, you are not at the end of your window. You are at what feels like rock solid right in the middle of it. And so, you know, I was worried for myself as a Seahawks fan going, man, the Falcons are going to be, they're going to be tough to get through. So I guess the part of me that when I saw you guys lose, while it was frustrating as to have to see the Patriots win, there was also that competitive part of me thinking, well, maybe this is going to knock the Falcons down a little bit psychologically and give us maybe open our window up a little bit more of a chance to get the NFC because you guys were the ones who got in our way. And so believe I'm thinking ahead next year. I want as many things to not be in our way as possible. And you're one of those teams. And we're going to face you at home and potentially in the playoffs again. So, you know, so it's going to be a very interesting season. A lot of stuff to get through with the draft and all that. And I'm sure we'll stay in touch. We'll definitely be staying in touch when it comes to that rematch back home. That's going to be epic. And if you come up for that game, we'll have a lot of fun with that one. But I guess for now, no words can comfort what you got to go through for the next several months until football season starts up again. But about what I told you, that's about all I can say. Is what your team is what it is, and it is a team that you guys should be in the mix next season. Yeah. But as far as the loss, there's no words that'll make you feel better. There's no getting over it. You just have to take the scar and wear it and accept the fact that it's going to be there. Forever, regardless of what happens from this point on. But that's sports, man. We've all had to suffer through it. But from you, I guess the last thing I'll say is that I do understand your pain. I understand Atlanta's pain. We have all had the same. We're very similar in that way, in that we've got very limited success in our professional teams. We have one Super Bowl and one NBA championship, and that NBA team isn't even in our city anymore. That's all we got. So we have an NBA championship that disappeared and was stolen from us. So all we have is the Seahawks and our one Super Bowl. We got a baseball team. Hey, at least your baseball team won something. We've never been to the World Series. So we still got stuff we got to get done. But like I said, Seattle understands Atlanta's pain. But so I'm sorry that happened. It was tough to watch that. But next season, we're resetting the whole thing, and you guys are just another opponent. But I like you, David. You're a good guy. So we'll stay in touch, bro.
Yeah, it's good, man. Go Atlanta Hawks. Calgary Flames right now. That's what I got.
All right. Well, thanks,
guys. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. And take it easy. Best to you, and we will stay in touch. And so, guys, make sure you subscribe to David's channel, Sports Live in the ATL. You can do that. Where am I going to put that? Somewhere over, right over there, right there. Sports Live in the ATL. I'm NorbCam, and I'm over here. So no, I'm right here. Anyway, you'll see it. The icons are right there. And check out one of my videos. And that's it, man. Go
All right,
Hawks.
bro.